did you even have a desire when you were growing up to even work in the film industry, or did you, like a lot of people, have kind of just stumbled into it?
Yeah. No, for me, 1000% yes. I had this picture of me at about 4 years old, maybe, wearing a $6 Million Man running suit that my grandmother made for me.
Oh,
And I'm
nice.
wearing the Rimco Star Trek utility belt and holding my Mego Kirk and Spock action figures. So,
I didn't realize that you had gone up for the part of Wesley. mean, did you? did you ever imagine you'd be working for Roddenberry Entertainment and doing what you're doing with? Having freaking access to all of Gene's files.
yeah, yeah. No, and the short answer.
Hello and welcome to the Transport Room. I'm your host, Chris Garris, and we've got a fantastic show lined up for you today. We are thrilled to introduce our incredible guest, John Champion. John is a highly respected podcaster, producer, and a longtime authority on the Star Trek universe. He is best known as the co host and producer of the official Roddenberry Entertainment podcast, Mission Log, a Roddenberry Star Trek podcast, where he explores every episode of the franchise to examine its morals, messages, and cultural significance. As a lifelong science fiction enthusiast, John is a regular fixture at fan events where he has moderated panels and hosted special events at major conventions. He is also a co-host and contributor to Trek Talks, a series of events and interviews featuring the creators and talents behind Star Trek. Now let's beam in John. Hey, John.
Hey, thank you.
You're
That
welcome.
was a fantastic intro. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome. Oh, those
Nicely done.
two.
I hope I live up to it.
You have. I can pretty much guarantee
Thanks.
you have. But yeah, I just, thanks for coming on today. And before you're a little bit different, I think, because you're into Trek, you're Roddenberry, you're all of the above, and so you're kind of a mixture, I think, because. But normally, I just, I like to start off with, I guess background, like how did they get, first off, did you even have a desire when you were growing up to even work in the film industry, or did you, like a lot of people, have kind of just stumbled into it?
Yeah. No, for me, 1000% yes.
Okay.
And I grew up both immersed in pop culture. So at that great time when, Star Wars and Star Trek the Motion Picture and Galactica there was this crush of great fun sci-fi content. And not just that, but the Bond movies
Hmm.
and the Indiana Jones
Oh
movies.
yeah.
So I was just a pop culture junkie from day one. And people ask if I remember my first Star Trek episode, and I don't. But what I do remember, and I had this picture of me at about 4 years old, maybe, wearing a $6 Million Man running suit that my grandmother made for me.
Oh,
And I'm
nice.
wearing the Rimco Star Trek utility belt and holding my Mego Kirk and Spock action figures. So I was into this regardless,
Yes.
right? But around the age of 6 or 7, as my mom tells it, she had something that she had to do in downtown Birmingham at UAB, University of Alabama, Birmingham.
Hmm.
She was in a class or something like that. And it was less expensive to put me in a children's theater workshop in the next building over than it was to hire a babysitter.
Oh, wow.
So, um, and I got I got hit with the bug there, and I did as much live theater, and then moving into a little bit of commercial and TV and stuff. Didn't really actively pursue it while I was in college,
Hmm.
but I kept going in and out of the business, doing theater and working in the production end where I could, doing a little bit of film and TV stuff, nothing major, nothing important, you know. But I feel like I've always had a foot in that world.
Hmm.
And where I am now, as I always tell people, sitting here behind this mic, talking to you, talking to our listeners, it really scratches that creative itch
Hmm.
for me. It's a little bit performative, but it's also something that I get to shape as a show. And as a fan,
Hmm.
I get to do the deep dive into the topics that I've always loved. So this is, to coin a phrase, the best of both worlds. Yeah.
Great episode.
Yeah.
Still one of the best. I mean, the fact that we're at 35 years and we're still talking about it.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
turned 35, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh
That was
man.
it.
If you had a chance to check it out, uh, we had Jonathan Frakes come in for the Trek Files for
Hmm.
our season closer for season 13.
Yes.
And he did it. We had the call sheet and a couple of script pages. And it was great just sitting in this room and there he is behind a mic doing fire. And he was this Frakes. It's you know, the man is commanding just sitting here in this little recording studio.
Well, he really is. I mean,
Yeah.
I have still not got to meet the man. I missed him at STLV. Know how.
Hmm.
Um, and then unfortunately, he just had to back out of SpaceCon and trek to Chicago. So,
Oh yeah.
not going to get him this year in
Yeah.
2025. So pretty
Well,
sure STLV
he is a
26.
busy man.
Hmm.
And as you probably know, there is a lot of Star Trek production between now and the end of the year. So
Yes.
between Academy and Strange New Worlds,
Oh yeah.
he's
He
yeah,
they.
stretched pretty
I'm
thin, I bet.
assuming it's probably Academy that I don't know. We're taking a guess at what it is.
Yeah.
That might have pulled him away because the fact that he had to cancel out of both, and they said production, so he's
Yeah.
going somewhere to direct something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those two, or some
Exactly.
top secret project that nobody knows. I would be just disappointed in if they didn't ever let him direct something, even a episode of a
Oh,
series. That
oh
would
yeah.
just it would be a loss to the franchise and to everybody else.
Well, and he's a terrific director. Look at how
Mhm.
many good directors come out of Star Trek.
Oh yeah.
Frakes, LeVar, Roxanne. I mean, they're awesome. Robbie
Oh
works
God, yes.
all the time.
Hmm.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh yeah. Well, and it was so much fun getting to talk to David Livingston. I mean,
Ah,
the guy who's directed more Star Trek than anybody, 62 episodes.
incredible.
And, and then I'm a member of the Delta Flyers, so it's actually even more fun when I can talk to um we had one of our Zooms recently where we had our Robbie, Armin, and Garrett were on it. And so I asked him,
Nice.
like, so what was, and I mean, I'm not going to say what, but I just asked him what it was like to get to work with David. And,
Yeah.
and now you get to hear, and I got to, get their answers from, an actor,
Yeah.
and then also from Robbie on a
As a
directorial level
director.
and director and producer. And so it was really interesting to hear that. And,
Yeah.
but also he has amazing, amazing stories.
Yeah.
David did, and his work after that. Something when I was researching for today.
For just $5 per month, enjoy ad-free access to this episode and all previous ones, plus exclusive bonus content. Sign up now on Patreon.
I didn't realize that you had gone up for the part of Wesley.
Yep. He sure did.
Oh
And
man.
uh I had spent a summer in New York. So
Hmm.
I grew up in Alabama, right?
Okay.
Doing a lot of theater there, a little bit of commercial, just whatever would come through. And there were two guys who had written a play that the theater company I did the most work with.
Hmm.
Uh, that we were producing their play, and turned out one of these guys, actually his day job, he was an agent in New York, and we just kind of had this idea. We are just chatting, got to be friends, and said, "Hey, if I'm there, is there work for me?" And he was like, "You should just come up, spend the summer."
Hmm.
So I did that with my mom, and didn't work a whole lot. I got a couple of small moments to be on set and just kind of absorb that.
Hmm.
But I took a lot of acting classes while I was there and just got to know the city. And fast forward a bit, that experience is over. I'm back home, and I think it was Starlog magazine that had this piece about this new Star Trek in development. And really didn't know anything about it, but I
Hmm.
called that agent who I had worked with over the summer and I said, "Hey, look, there's this new Star Trek coming.
Yep.
I don't know if there's a role for a kid. I don't know if this is Lost in Space, but
Mm.
if there is anything that would fit me, sure, 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 we'll let you know." And then months go by. My mom picked me up from school one day and said, "We're not going home. We're going to the airport to go to New York. You have an audition for Star Trek."
Oh, just out of the, I mean, they just called you up and wow.
Yeah, yeah. So we go to New York. At that time, Paramount was owned by Gulf and Western,
Hmm.
and the magnificent Gulf and Western building at Columbus Circle was HQ. So go in, have a reading, got a call back, did a reading.
Oh, okay.
Then I got put on tape. I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. This is great. And then your imagination gets away from you. Like, wait a minute, I might actually stand a chance here. And then if you don't get a role, you really don't hear about it. What you
Hmm.
hear is that somebody else got the role.
Okay. Yeah.
They don't call and let you down easy. you know.
Oof.
So of course, Will got it. It's fantastic. It's
Hmm.
great. It's the way that history was meant to play out.
Correct.
But what's so weird is that that just becomes like this little tiny footnote among all the auditions I've ever had
Hmm.
and the potential paths my life might have taken. You don't
Yeah.
give it much more thought, right?
True.
Then decades later, I'm here going through the files, and here's this page from casting to Gene's office. And this is the copy with the stamp on it, received, whatever
Uh-huh.
date in Gene's
Hmm.
office. And it's this short list with like, these are the people who are submitting from the people we taped
Hmm.
from casting in New York. And it was like, I know it's one of them was BB Newworth for Dr. Crusher, but
Uh-huh.
she would not relocate out of New York.
Okay.
So immediately strike against her.
Yeah, she's done.
Yeah. And there were a handful of other names, and then John Champion, Wesley, and I had the name of my agent on there. And let me tell you, it's a really strange feeling to have this thing that you did for a blip, just a moment in your life. And then you're holding a piece of paper that gives it some reality, that it
Yeah.
isn't just this memory. It is this thing that actually happened, and here's the paper evidence for it, you know? Yeah. And
Oh,
then we found the sides. We found that little, 3 pages out of the script, which I had remembered all these years. And then Frakes was in here for a Trek Files, and we read it together.
oh my God.
Yeah. It
That
was
had to
really
just be
weird.
like a almost a dream come true in some
Yeah.
ways to finish
Yeah.
to finish that, even though you didn't get the part, but you actually got to now act that one little section with him, with Commander
Yeah.
Riker.
Because I remember distinctly that it was a scene between Wesley and Riker,
Gosh.
and that had stuck with me
Uh,
all these years. And the man himself was in here, and we did it.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so cool. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Frakes Jonathan he's definitely he's a guest I want one of these days. I
Hmm.
mean, not there yet. I don't well, I say that. Who knows? I just the hardest part is and actually I think you which surprises me that even you guys may have the hard time is getting people every now and then. And a lot of it's, now they probably at least respond to y'all's emails and say, we're sorry. But um we're busy, schedule. But again,
Yeah.
just getting the response, but also then obviously the scheduling
Yeah.
is just crazy.
You would think that as Roddenberry,
Yeah,
we have some kind of advantage. We really don't in in some respects. Like,
correct.
yes, we can get an email, we can send it out, we can assume that they got it. Scheduling is always going to be tough.
Yeah.
Even just somebody's desire to do an interview, to chat. If they
Hmm.
don't feel like it,
Oh
that's
yeah.
okay.
Oh,
And then when it
absolutely.
comes to everything that is in the current pipeline, okay, even though this is the house of Roddenberry, all of the current production pipeline is managed obviously by Paramount, CBS,
Hmm.
um,
Now Skydance.
Secret Hideout, and we've got to go through that whole process too,
Oh
PR and yeah. So it's not the easiest thing.
man,
Yeah.
well, and you would think, like you said, as someone like me who's an outside, to that industry within and have learned a lot more about the industry, you would think that the name should have some clout to it still. And I know it does, but you still got
Yeah.
to go through all those hoops and
Oh, sure.
hurdles to get to that. And oh my God. And all of the agents that like you did production now who figuring out now who owns what,
Yeah.
at times and who to contact.
Yeah. That's a bit of a
I
challenge.
bet,
Yeah.
and so that kind of leads me to where my next question is like, did you ever imagine you'd be working for Roddenberry Entertainment and doing what you're doing having freaking access to all of Gene's files.
Yeah. Yeah. And the short
And
answer is no, never
mhm,
would have guessed it because, if you said to me when I was 10 or 15 years old, even like this is a role that can be filled
mhm,
somewhere, then I wouldn't have believed you. It wouldn't have made any sense. What, you talk about Star Trek? That's a thing outside
mhm,
of a convention,
yeah,
Um, so no, never would have guessed. And of course, at the time and being industry adjacent as I was, doing some acting, do a
yeah,
little bit of production here and there. I I had friends or I would hear about friends who would go do something really cool. Like I had
mhm,
some friends who came out to Universal. I can't even remember the years, probably in the early 80s
mhm,
or something like that. And just kind of talked their way onto the lot and interviewed with some folks there. And nothing really came of it, but they had in mind like, well, we want to go where
mhm.
this great stuff is being made. So we're just going to show up
Well,
and try to
that
get jobs.
so what you just said completely blew my mind recently. I can't remember. Were you at STLV this year? I don't remember.
Yes and no. So Roddenberry didn't have an official presence there,
Mhm.
but I was there for Mission Log and
Okay.
we had the Patreon party, and
Yeah.
then I
Yeah.
kind of
I
dashed
got
around
there
visiting
after
some
that.
friends the next day.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I got there after that.
Yeah. So well, you got to do it next year then.
Well, I'm planning on being there the whole time next year. I didn't get in
Excellent.
until Friday. Um,
Great.
but no, I recently I finished up. I had a panel. I did an interview with the Letter Decks panel that was at STLV. That's all of the Duncan Fraser and all them that were. Larry ran their panel. They're all of the extras and the background actors from
Yeah.
Enterprise. And
Yeah.
when we were talking, in fact, we're actually finishing up the edit right now. It's out to Patreon today, but it'll be out next week.
Mhm.
I had all of them on, and when I asked them about, like how they get in and da da da, pre 9/11
Yeah.
completely shocked me how several of them people literally you just walked into Paramount. The
Yeah.
guards and I'm like, what do you mean you just walked like just right through the gates and
Yeah.
yeah, and just go get in an audition? I'm like,
Yeah. Well, okay. So my friends who made it out to Universal, they, I, I don't know if they'd be upset if I betrayed them this little story here.
oh yeah,
They came out to Universal. They had a couple interviews. They were just networking,
yeah,
schmoozing, hanging out as much as they could. They may have walked away with some tangible souvenirs of Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, we just leave it at that. We'll just leave it at that. There's been no names mentioned, so we're good. Um,
Exactly.
well, and just like, I mean, how many Star Trek actors happen to just maybe walk out with something? Not, I mean, you know,
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure there's a few things.
Yeah.
And yeah, but see, that's what I liked about, the Roddenberry stuff. I mean, I think I found it through Larry, Nemechek, and then through one of his Tuesday Trek Talk lives, and then interviewing him. And so we
Hmm.
started talking, and then that's when he mentioned Mission Log and the Patreon. And I know it said y'all started in 2012, but which what I think I found on
Yeah.
the podcast piece of it.
Hmm.
Okay. So what was the inspiration for the to go to take all of Gene's documents and actually start creating the Mission Log podcast and the Prodigy podcast and then
Yeah.
Trek Files?
Yeah.
I mean that's a lot of work and there's a lot of stuff to do.
It
And
is.
I mean and I will say this as you know a fan and now a content creator, it's great. I mean, just I really love Trek Files. The
Oh,
Trekco
good.
Files. Every other Monday, you can
Yeah.
guarantee I'm going to be on the Discord with Larry in the group, and sometimes it's
Nice.
2 or 3 of us, sometimes it's 5 or 6 people in there. Um, but and it's and I'll just say this for anybody who wants to do it, it's like $1, $2,
It's a
like
dollar.
it's $1
It's a
for $1
Yeah.
a month. I think I'm at the
Yeah.
$10, woohoo.
Yeah.
But I mean, for $1 a month, you can join and you can legit sit there and just have a chat with Larry and other
Yeah.
fans as well. But anyway,
Yeah.
so I don't mind plugging that
I
because it's
I
worth
mean,
it.
look, thank you for the plug, first of
Yeah,
all.
worth
And
it.
I always hesitate to sound too commercial.
Yeah.
I will make a joke out of it that we're doing our crassly commercial bit of the show. Um, but I really have to hand it to Norman and Earl and people like Alan and
Hmm.
DC, who are in our Discord community, because so many places are competing for you to donate to their Patreon.
Yes.
All worthwhile, all great, yes. And it is a fantastic way for creators to uh, boost, to buoy their creative efforts.
Hmm.
Um, I am super proud of the Roddenberry podcast. Pardon me. I'm super proud of the Roddenberry podcast Discord as an extension of our Patreon,
Hmm.
because it's really something special, and I cannot take credit for that.
Yeah.
It's all of these people who said, "But wait, we can do live chats, and we can do this, and we can have streaming events, and blah
Hmm.
blah." And they've made it into something way beyond what I've ever imagined.
Hmm.
So thank you for being a part of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And you nailed it. When I look at that schedule and go, "Wow, we've got live stuff every day
Every
of the
day,
week, practically."
almost every
you know?
week.
Yeah,
And so the way you just said that, so that and I guess it's a good way to put it, that is a truly fan run
yeah,
Discord. I
yeah.
mean, all those events, they're not being put on by Roddenberry. I mean,
No.
they may be, you may come on every now and then, but it's not. It is like, Monday nights is every other Monday with Larry. And then you've got
Hmm.
the Battlestar. You've got now
Yeah.
I've made it to one of the Quantum Leap ones, which I really enjoyed. But that's just
Nice.
somebody, one of the members, I think Andy
Yeah.
or whoever
That's
just
Andy
said,
doing that all the way from Norway.
yeah, just
Yeah.
said, let's do it. And somebody said, okay. And so
Yeah.
now you do it. But
And
so yeah.
I would say it's a little weird. People sometimes don't understand always the connection or how it works with
Yes.
Roddenberry, because
Yes,
they
I
look at
agree.
Roddenberry, yeah, and they go, "Oh, look, it's Roddenberry. That's Star Trek money.
Yeah.
Why is there a Patreon? Why are there ads on my show and blah
Mhm.
blah blah?" And the long and short of it is this: 2012, that's when we started Mission Log,
Yeah.
and it was just two guys and a couple of mics, and we very quickly realized that it takes a long time to make Mission Log. And Rod was very generous about saying, "I want to make sure you're paid,
Mhm.
and it is worth your time to do this
Yeah.
endeavor," right?
Mhm.
Um, advertising dollars in podcasts then and now, hard to chase. You've got to have extraordinary numbers for that to make sense, where just ads alone
Yeah.
can pay for your show.
Mhm.
Um, we also realized pretty early on that the secret to Mission Log, and therefore the secret to the other shows that we wanted to do,
Mhm.
was to be an inch wide and a mile deep,
Okay.
and make sure that we could attract the audiences for whom that's what they wanted. And a perfect example of that is genealogy.
Mhm.
So that has, by comparison to Mission Log, a very small audience.
Yeah.
But to us, it's a very important audience, and it's a very important show that is near and dear to Rod's heart, because this explores his father's work from the very beginning, his very first script sale,
Mhm.
all the way up to Star Trek, trying to figure out what we're going to do when we hit Star Trek. But there's all the stuff that he was writing while he was also working on Star Trek,
Mhm.
and then the shows that came after. And some of those never saw the light of day,
Okay.
right? But we look at that as an archival effort. It's something in Rod's mind that belongs collectively with, a DVD Blu-ray set. Okay,
Mhm.
there's the show, but now here's the analysis discussion of those shows,
Mhm.
episode by episode.
Mhm.
Um, so that's a long way of saying that Patreon and the perks that come with that, like Discord,
Mhm.
they really have to support these shows. They really have to keep those going, because I can only rely on Rod's generosity or the company's
Yeah.
generosity for so long, when you've been doing this for 13 years, and
Yeah.
then that one show turns into 6 shows.
Oh, yeah.
We all believe very strongly in them, but there's no way that we could turn those into a commercially successful venture
Yeah.
based solely on ads, and it just doesn't add up.
No, not unless you have, at least probably or quarter of a million or higher followers on
Yeah,
YouTube, and
yeah,
that's barely.
exactly.
And even then, that would probably not support more than maybe 2 shows if you were
Yeah,
lucky.
yeah.
If you were
And
lucky.
the important thing is that when you're chasing numbers like that,
Mhm.
it's simply not the content that we do.
Yeah.
We feel very strongly in the format of Mission Log.
Mhm.
That is not for everybody, and it's
Correct.
not for a quarter million viewers on
Yeah.
YouTube
No,
necessarily.
and you're right, and
Yeah,
that's something I had to for my own channel, when I started, I was, just, advised and rightfully so, to keep the videos 30 minutes or less, 25 to 30 minutes or less.
yeah,
And so I would do that. I'd break it into 2 parts, so on and so on. But it just for one, it was a lot more work to have to do 2 episodes a week. And
mhm,
so I just, went ahead and decided, not too long after, just, you know what? If they want to watch it, I'm going to drop the full out. If it's an hour discussion, it's going to be an hour discussion, hour and a half,
yeah,
and they'll come back to it in some way, shape, or form
yeah.
because it breaks
You
it
know,
up.
the nice thing about YouTube right now is that there is room for everything.
Hmm.
I think the sweet spot for me, I watch a lot of tech videos, a lot
Yeah.
of current events, and 10, 12 minutes, that's
Hmm.
great. Dip
Correct.
in, learn something, get out. But there are also hour, hour and a half, 2 hour videos
Oh
sometimes,
yeah.
depending on the topic,
Yeah.
that I want to spend the time and get invested in that.
Correct.
Um, and that's part of the reason that here we're trying to innovate a little and decide, okay, what's the next step for Mission Log, aiming toward video for that, like simultaneous audio video releases for
Okay.
Mission Log. And then we spun off a new YouTube channel to hold new short form content.
Mhm.
And we'll see what happens.
Oh,
Somebody who
nice.
I work with here, I think, has a great way of looking at it. And she always says the nice thing about YouTube is you can fail fast.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
you
get the
can.
thing out,
Mhm.
you see what happens, you get the next thing out, you see what happens. And then wherever you have your marker of success, you go with that one.
Yeah. that's the only way to do it. I mean,
Yeah.
she's right. You're gonna fail fast, or you're gonna just take off.
Yeah.
And something I've had to tell myself, I've had to learn, is it's a marathon and not a sprint.
Yes.
And sometimes that is really hard to swallow when you're like, oh gosh, I want that one to do so well, and then but it takes time, and so yeah,
Yeah. But I
it
mean,
does.
case in point, we go back and look at the download numbers from episode 1 of Mission Log. We're up to 592 now, and that's not including supplementals and live shows and everything
Oh
else.
my gosh.
And those shows still get downloads.
Hmm.
And I get email every week from people who say either I just discovered your show
Hmm.
or, I'm up to episode 20 and I have this comment about this thing that you said. And I wrote back and say, I don't remember, you know. But we've gone back to those old shows and started to drop in ads because you realize, well, wait, if this show I recorded 12 years ago is getting 100 downloads or whatever, that's a show now that can actually contribute to paying for
Yeah,
itself
no, it's actual
when it
revenue.
hasn't for 12 years.
Yeah, it's legit.
Yeah.
That's a very
Yeah.
valid point. Go back and do
Mhm.
that. So because now you can get a couple of pennies off of it,
Yeah.
you know, and they all add up.
Exactly.
So and
Exactly.
so you've got the mission log. Now the Prodigy was for Prodigy, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly, right? So obviously that one is done for now.
Yeah.
For
I
now.
would love it if there was something else. And here's a little bit of a double-edged sword there. If there's another Prodigy product of some sort,
Hmm.
then I would love for a Mission Log Prodigy to cover it.
Okay.
And everybody who worked on that show is
Oh yeah,
awesome. The
Charlene. Yeah, she's fun.
Hagemans and
Yeah.
I mean on
Oh
Prodigy itself,
yes,
and
correct.
then Mission Log Prodigy. I
Yes.
think they're all wonderful. Great collection of people,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Um, the feed for Mission Log Prodigy has sat quiet for a
Yeah.
long time because there isn't new Prodigy content.
Yep.
So what I would love to do is if there is something that comes around, do a Mission Log Prodigy,
Hmm.
but then we got to promote it within one of our other feeds that's a little more active,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, obviously Academy's about to come up here real
Yeah.
soon. So, and I mean,
Yeah.
if you wanted to throw, I mean, I haven't watched, I haven't stopped long enough to watch them. I mean, I know they're only 4 minutes, but Scouts.
Scouts, yeah. You know what? I brought that up at our weekly meeting here the other day, and I said, I, I, I want to talk to somebody, a writer, a producer, some of us, bring them on Mission Log Live, even though that show is not for our demographic.
Correct.
I want to understand their approach to Star Trek.
Hmm.
What is the Star Trek that they're putting into this
Hmm.
product? So,
Well, and exactly. And I was talking to someone in one of our groups about it. Of course, we always feel like, we already had a kids show. We had Prodigy, which is not really
yeah,
a kids show. I mean, it's like Shrek. It's for kids, but it's got adults in there.
yeah,
It's they should have they should have never gotten rid of Prodigy, but I'm just going to leave it at
I'm
that. They should not.
100% with you there.
They as we've all discussed, a lot of us, that sometimes Paramount, we don't think they realize what they have, and they don't know
Yeah,
how to market it right every now and
yeah,
then. So, um,
yeah,
but again, you have Scouts, and a lot of us, the fan community, are like, where did that come from? Like
yeah.
it just like one
We're
day,
asking ourselves the same thing here.
yeah. Like I mean, I know it's Nickelodeon, but there
Yeah.
was zero like up
Mhm.
front, just all of a sudden, oh hey, here's Star Trek Scouts, or
Yeah.
what? You
Yeah.
know, So anyway, but again, but you talk about it, that's something that could kind of fit in the Prodigy strand because it is the kids, the kids side. So
Yeah.
that's where I was going with thinking about that a
It
little
was
bit.
funny though. We were talking the other day about it. I think in Discord, um, that our youngest caller on Mission Log Prodigy, and for those who haven't watched or listened to Mission Log Prodigy, the heart and soul of that show is at the end of every episode, we have voicemails from kids who
Oh,
watch Prodigy.
okay.
And there are 4 questions. What's your name and age? Did you like the episode? What was your favorite part? And what did you learn?
Mm,
And it was awesome to hear kids. I'd say the sweet spot probably between about 7 and 10,
okay.
somewhere around there. But the youngest caller not including Aaron Waltke's like
Mm,
3-month-old daughter at the time.
yeah, that one won't count probably.
He's walking through it with her, which is hilarious. But our youngest caller was Dietrich, and he started with his mom, Emily,
Hmm.
um, started calling into the show at about age 3.
Oh, wow.
And by the time Prodigy season 2 ended, I think he was 5.
Okay.
But as a 3-year-old, the stuff that this kid was picking up
Mm,
was great. And I
yeah.
thought, Star Trek Scouts thinks it's a preschool show. No, no, I'm here to tell you that Dietrich was already into Prodigy,
Yeah.
you know,
Hmm.
and he got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why, like, for like on my channel here, I've added another host, and her name is Linda, and
Hmm.
she's 20, and
Hmm.
so and we met through the online, social media, and we've actually connected at we went to Trek to Los, I mean not but what SCLB went to Trek Orlando, and we actually
Oh,
met,
cool.
and she's come on the channel. She's now hosting with me and my other person,
Nice.
Allison, and but what we in my thought process, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's perfect because she loves Janeway. She Star Trek Voyager.
Yeah.
She's 20. She's a physics major in
Oh,
college,
cool.
third year, and math, and now maybe computer science. I think she might try to add. I don't know. But anyway, but it started made me thinking, oh my God, we need as a franchise and as a Star Trek community, we've got to get that next. I joke, I call it the next generation
Right.
of fans to keep
Yeah.
this going because I mean I'll be 49 this year, and so
Yeah.
our group is starting, we're getting up there, we're starting to age and whatnot, and so
Yeah.
we started talking, and like we thought about we need that younger generation to keep
Hmm.
it going,
Yeah.
otherwise, and so yeah, and again, she's a perfect example of what Star Trek can do for somebody because she watched Voyager, and she, Janeway was her, outside of her parents, Janeway was her next, like, kind of just her role model of like, that's, I can do this type stuff.
Yeah.
And so, and as we all heard at the Voyager panel, I mean, oh my God, in Vegas this year, that was just phenomenal. All the people that came up and said, Kate, I'm doing this because of, you, I'm doing this. It just,
Yeah.
yeah, that was a almost a tearjerker at times to listen to some of those stories,
Uh,
especially when this one little like 10-year-old or something, like she came up and Kay said, "Get up in here," because she was going to be an electrical engineer.
uh,
Yeah, it was
I love
amazing.
stories like
Yeah, it was
that.
great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's where, yeah, so I mean, so I could see you doing that, obviously, Project with Scouts, and then,
Hmm.
um, and something I was curious about is so whose idea was it to start the Trek Files? Yours or Larry's or combo or a little bit of it all?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a combo. Larry, of course, has had this long history of doing his work, Star Trek: The Next Generation Compendium,
Hmm.
and his Portal 47 and Trekland Live, and he has just this trove of interviews that he's done over the years.
Hmm.
And Rod is very passionate about the physical archive here,
Okay.
and he never quite knows what to do with it. So, um, we've had this arrangement with Otoy
Hmm.
doing the Roddenberry Archive online, and they're doing these CG kind of virtual reality exhibits uh, that are everything from buildups of the bridge, of different iterations, to scans of some of the props. We got
Hmm.
some of the costumes here, some props here, which we'll be loaning out, and they'll do scans of
Yeah.
those. But we have all the paper archive here. And Larry, quite frankly, you'd come up and look for stuff, and we'd find some pretty amazing artifacts. And
Hmm.
it just seemed that we knew that we wanted to do something together. We didn't
Yeah.
quite know what. Rod loved the Trek Files because it sounds like the X Files,
Oh yeah.
and it just sort of,
It works.
yeah, it just puts a button on it, tells you exactly what it is.
Oh
And I
yeah.
really have to give the majority of the credit to Larry because he has got such an encyclopedic knowledge, not just about, okay, who would be a good
Hmm.
expert to talk about a document, but who are the unsung
Yeah.
heroes of the shows? When you talk to an assistant director or
Oh yeah.
a person who worked in the casting office, right? And they come in and they've got these great stories that
Hmm.
you've never heard before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I loved having these letter day guys on because they were, the extras and the stand-ins, and so they have a different perspective of what, say,
Hmm.
Connor and Dom or Anthony might have.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
and you get to hear, you know, when they I feel it adds a little bit more credit to when they say a top of the line person above the line says, that so and so is such a great person. That
Yeah.
when you hear a below the line and say
Yeah.
says the exact same thing,
Yeah.
then okay, that really validates what people are saying. Like
Right.
last night we interviewed an extra, Michael Chan, and he was on Discovery, and he
Uh-huh.
said anybody new that came in on that series, Daniqua, even if she was off, if she knew who was coming in, she came to set and welcomed them and said, "Hey, you're a part of the family now." I'm like,
That's
okay,
great.
that's number one on the call sheet right there,
Yeah.
and that's a
That's
good
amazing.
one.
That sets the tone.
It
It really
does.
does.
It really
Yeah.
does. And so, yeah, but those the extras and the behind the scenes. So that's why I'm trying to get more people on. And I've done directors so far. I got Liz
Mhm.
and Dave have been on. Dave Blast. So again, you
Yeah.
get to hear such a different perspective. And then even like with talking with you today, you're inside the archives, and so you even have a different outlook of how things, because you're getting to see a lot of stuff that none of us have seen yet. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, and it's so interesting because sorry, nowadays everything's on email and text, and it's just this huge
ah,
volume, this just stream of consciousness about
mhm,
every little decision. In the physical archive, it's a different world. Somebody had to sit down and type out a memo
yes,
and pick their words a bit more carefully.
mhm,
And the benefit of that is you see these much more, I think, concise snapshots
uh-huh,
into a moment. Um, and you also see the care with which those notes were written, particularly memos from somebody like Bob Justman.
yeah,
This is legendary for his ability to turn a phrase,
yeah,
you know?
mhm.
And then you really see the personalities come out in those
Oh, yes.
documents as well.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen all of them, obviously, but there's several of the documents I have read on the Trek Files for season 13.
Mhm.
Um, oh, DC Fontana, she would
Yeah.
not hold back.
No.
And it was one of the last ones when, oh gosh, it was a memo, I think probably from her to Gene, and
Mhm.
she was like, what it was one of they were talking about when Deanna was going to have three breasts and all this stuff,
Yeah.
and she just went like, what are you thinking? Why are we
Yeah.
gonna, and oh my, I mean, she did not.
Yeah. She's like, "I hate this. Your female viewers will hate this."
Yeah,
She's just
but
laying it all out.
those are the type of documents that we're getting to now see that are coming to the
Yeah.
light of date, which are just, it really gives us as a, as a fan base, to get to see the inner workings of what was going on behind the
Mhm.
scenes, and the decisions that were going into these Bibles and these series and stuff that, I mean,
Yeah.
I had no clue they were even going to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my gosh. But yeah, and they didn't, if I'm not mistaken, and I've only read it a while back, she was not in favor of Wesley Crusher,
Right. There's a lot of back and forth about that.
about that
Yeah.
character. And at all,
Yeah.
I've been reading the Nas book.
Mhm.
And I think I'm on Gates' chapter right now. Oh, I'm sorry. If they would have done what they had planned, oh,
Uh-huh.
there's no way they were gonna drop Wes off of this Enterprise, and she was gonna leave.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Again, I
Yeah.
had not read until I read that book. I was like, "Oh, that would have been horrible."
Yeah.
I'm like,
Literally orphan this kid,
yeah,
you know?
orphaned her with Picard, who can't stand kids.
Right. Right.
But yeah, I just anyway, so those are the things that I'm really enjoying. I'm enjoying. I'm glad we're talking about these because it's this type of stuff that again, fandom may not know, and now they're going to get a little bit of an insight in some of these things that we have and how they can even get to it. And I can't even imagine how much paperwork y'all have. I mean, I'd love to see a
Yeah.
picture of the archives one of these days.
Oh yeah, no, it's incredible, and there's a lot that we don't have because after Gene died, a lot went to UCLA,
Ah, uh-huh,
and there are pieces of this archive that are in different places. But I think we've got a obviously a really solid
hmm
representation of his career. Um, I think what you were saying is a really important illustration of what some fans lose sight of today because it's very easy to go online
hmm
and say, you know, pick your show, whatever it is, Discovery, Picard, uh, whatever, and just say like, "Oh, this show is terrible. The producers don't get Star Trek,
yeah.
and Paramount sucks. Bye." Hashtag not my track.
Oh yeah.
But what gets lost in that is that there are a million little decisions being made by dozens of people before the first frame of film is rolled.
hmm
And these documents illustrate exactly that. In the build up to next gen, who is this character going to be?
hmm
Wesley. Well, now it's going to be Leslie, and it's going
Yeah,
to
I
be a
forgot about
16-year-old
that.
girl. Now we're back to Wesley. No, get rid of the kid. We know with it. No, 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 bring the kid back. And it's all this stuff happening all the time, just even down to the smallest design details.
hmm
Um, and it should really show that very typically there's not just one person saying, "This is my vision for everything. Now go make it happen exactly like this."
Yeah. No.
Doesn't really work like that.
Oh no,
It really is collaborative,
it is.
and all of those little decisions ultimately add up to what you see. I always say that it's a miracle that anything gets on TV at all
Agreed.
because it's very hard to do,
hmm
and it's a miracle that out of those, that any of them are any good,
hmm
you know?
True. Well, and a lot of people don't. I didn't know this either. That when you are filming an episode, and in fact, it was DS9 that David was talking about. It was one of his. He was real happy, but he was real happy the way he cut it. And as soon as he was done, that cut, print, done. I didn't realize that in television, that once the director hands over their cut, they
Yeah.
basically have no more say in what producers decide to do. And he was
Yeah.
just giving us a story about how, he had it cut very precise the way he wanted it. And
Yeah.
then when it got to editing and the uppers, they're like, it's too close. You need to open it up just a little. And so, but I didn't know that. And so it's really interesting. And you talk about how all the people that it takes to make a show and get it on the screen,
Yeah.
is just, it's really mind boggling at what it takes to make this happen.
One of the first times I met Connor,
hmm
uh, we are talking about acting, and something that he said stuck with me. He said that theater is an actor's medium,
Uh huh.
film is a director's medium,
hmm
TV is an editor's medium. And I think you'd append that and say also TV is a producer's medium because
hmm
sometimes in that story you just
Yeah.
illustrated, a producer can just kind of say, no, 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 it's this.
Yeah.
Um, I think there's a lot of truth to that,
hmm
you know?
Yeah.
TV is a different animal.
It is. And speaking of how different animal and TVs, and something you said just earlier about, how the not my trick made me
Yeah.
think of something.
Yeah.
Um, and and I don't know and if you can answer or not, but and it may be a personal opinion, is like I was at first it really did catch me off guard. And
Hmm.
of course it's still my trick. I watched it, I like it,
Hmm.
I like it, but I always wondered why in the world, and I'm kind of curious what the Roddenberrys thought about it when they actually dropped the F bomb in that one episode of Picard. And she's like, "This your
Yeah.
sheer effing hubris." I was like,
Yeah.
"What?"
Hmm.
And if you can't talk about it, I understand, but at first I didn't think it, but later on I start thinking, like,
Yeah,
why?
yeah. Um, that's interesting. I don't wanna put words in
True.
Rod's mouth.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, I honestly don't know his reaction to that,
Hmm.
or as a company, what
Yeah.
comments or
Hmm.
emails or whatever went back and forth. I do know that Rod takes the message of Star Trek very seriously.
Hmm.
So, and he doesn't want to nitpick every single
Correct.
thing, but when something comes along that he feels like as a story point or as one of the three M's, the morals, meanings, messages, if it doesn't jibe right, he will then raise his hand and say, "Hey, I have a problem with this."
Gotcha.
Maybe it gets addressed, maybe it doesn't.
Hmm.
It's not Roddenberry's show,
Correct.
which I get it that his name is on there along with about 30 other producer
Yeah,
credits,
exactly. Hmm.
um, but that's the kind of thing that ultimately it doesn't come down to one person's decision,
Correct.
and
Yeah.
it's certainly not the person sitting in the office at the other end of this building.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Um, I remember at the time we had pulled there was a letter to Majel
Mm.
from a fan who was upset about Double Dumbass on You from Star Trek 4. Yeah. And Majel wrote back reassuring her that, Star Trek is still family approachable,
Hmm.
family acceptable, and
Yeah.
and blah blah blah. And personally, I was of two minds about
Hmm.
it. I I realize that we're in a different era
Correct.
and that streaming TV is different from broadcast
Yeah.
TV, and the flavor of this particular Star Trek story
Hmm.
is going to be different from the flavor of another particular Star
Yeah.
Trek story. And we're also assuming that the people who are watching Picard are the people who grew up with Next Gen,
Yeah.
and they are now 25 years older.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
that said, I really like the idea of Star Trek being something that anybody can feel comfortable sitting down with their kids,
Yeah.
their nephew, niece,
Hmm.
little brother, little sister, whatever,
Yeah.
and watch it and not sit there and think to themselves, "Wait a minute, is that
Yeah.
appropriate?" And
Exactly.
and to me, it just didn't fit stylistically.
Correct. And that's what hit me honestly, I think as well. And it's something that I was talking with another producer one day about their podcast and whatnot. And I said, why do y'all bleep the cuss words?
Yep.
And he flat out said, well, because I want to be able to watch this with my 6 or 7 year old daughter. I'm
Yeah.
like, ah.
Yeah.
And now that's what I do as well, because it again, it flipped that switch when you're like, oh wait, because Star Trek is you know, sit down with your family and get to see a good story
Right.
and whatnot. And so I was like, oh, it makes sense, even if
Yeah.
you're paying for it. But regardless, yeah, I get it. But I was just, yeah, it's again, it was the first time we've really, really
Yeah.
in Picard, and it just like, and it from a stylistic perspective, it didn't need to be there. This is my personal opinion.
No, that's the thing, because when you get to that moment, it feels like the show screeches to a halt in order to show off that we're doing this thing now,
Yeah,
this word that you've never heard in Star Trek before, and we're making a point of it.
yeah,
Um, that's why it didn't feel right to me.
yeah.
It felt gratuitous.
Hmm.
Um, I'm no prude.
Oh,
I
same
I
here.
yeah, I have
Yeah,
no problem with adult subject matter,
nope.
and very often we go through Star Trek and we try to look at it and go, "Okay, well, where did they actually pull their punches about
Hmm.
sexuality
Yeah.
or social or political issues or whatever that they could have pushed the envelope a bit
Oh,
more?"
yeah.
And there are times that you kinda look at it and you go, "Okay, well, they're doing something mildly gratuitous, a bit
Yeah.
of flesh here and there,
Yeah.
a bit of a sexual endo here and there. But what they didn't do is actually do something that was a bit more resonant, a
Yeah.
bit more serious and
Hmm.
thoughtful of a take on an adult theme.
Correct.
And
Well,
that's what I felt about that.
hmm,
It was yeah, it was unfortunate. And by the
yeah.
way, we get email almost every time we have a guest on and we have to bleep something.
Uh-huh.
I never want to bring in a guest and say, "Hey, you can't say this, you can't
Correct.
say that, whatever."
Yeah.
So we bleep it out
Hmm.
in the show. And people always write back, "I'm an adult. I don't need you to bleep that out." And I say, "It's not for you."
Hmm.
it's it's the fact that first of all, if we tag something explicit,
Boom.
there's a good chunk of our audience that may just not get the show
Correct.
or they may not be able to find the show.
Yeah.
And also, I can't tell you the number of times I've been at a convention and somebody has said, I listened to Mission Log with my kid in the car
Yeah.
because they're watching Star Trek and I want to have a conversation with them about it.
Hmm.
Look, some kids will drop that language and that's fine.
Yeah.
If that's
Absolutely.
fine in your household, fine. I'm trying to cast as wide a net
Yeah.
here as I can.
Exactly. And that's
Yeah.
what the person I was talking, that's basically what they said as well. And so it's why I do it now,
Yeah.
is because what if somebody, yeah, because yeah, that's why I do it. It's because you really want to
Yeah.
have that family environment in there,
Yeah.
um, and make it possible. And so, but no, I know this has been a great discussion. I just, one of the few things I've got left, it would be like, you know, what's your like? How many conventions have you personally gone to, and or have you?
Ooh.
Oh,
Wow. Let's see.
yeah.
Okay, just for STLV, uh, every year since 2006.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then outside of that, there's a lot more. There's probably a dozen here in Southern California, whether it was
Hmm.
creations events at in
San
Burbank,
Francisco. Yeah.
LA Comic Con, when I lived in Chicago there. Oh my gosh, there's a whole long story about the ill-fated FedCon USA that they attempted to have in Dallas back
What?
in 2008, I
FedCon
think.
tried to be over here?
Oh, such a disaster. But here's the thing. It wasn't I mean, FedCon is a well-established,
Correct.
well-known convention, right?
Mhm.
I guess they had licensed out the name or had some agreement that somebody
Oh.
was going to do it here. I kid you not, and you can go find podcasts and stories that have tried to put this whole thing together. Uh, the morning the convention started,
Mhm.
the host went on stage and said the convention is closing.
Oh my god.
The morning it started. And John Billingsley is the one who said, went up on stage, grabbed the mic, is like, wait, 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 wait. I think these people deserve an explanation. What's going on? And long and short of it, they hadn't reached their minimums with the hotel.
Ooh.
So the hotel had pulled the plug on it. And almost everybody who was there, so that was on I think it was on a Friday morning. Yeah, we got in Thursday night. Um, everybody who was there actually still did the job. So
Oh.
the actors signed autographs,
Mhm.
took pictures, even though the convention wasn't
Official.
officially happening. Now, what happened was those of us who couldn't get out of Dallas
Mhm.
because couldn't get a flight or the flight change was
Yeah.
exorbitant or whatever, we ended up stuck for the next 2.5 days in the hotel bar.
Gosh.
So it was me, my girlfriend at the time, who also was an on-air host for
Yeah.
the work that we were doing, uh, Garrett, John Billingsley. I think Connor managed to get out faster than any of us. Uh, Gigi Edgley. And it was the same group of people. We were just always there in
Mhm.
the hotel bar. And, you know, so when Larry,
Yeah.
and that's how Larry and I became friends, is how John Billingsley and I became
Mhm.
friends. And from that, then moving out here to LA in 2010, that's how those relationships were founded and
Hmm.
then how they flourished. And obviously with John working on Hofoco,
Oh
Trek
yeah,
Talks, etc. Yeah.
that's great. Yeah, I didn't even know there was an LA Comic Con.
Yeah. It used to be Stan Lee's Kamikaze. And then and it was something else maybe right before or right after that. But yeah, it's LA Comic Con. It's smaller than San Diego
Yeah,
Comic Con, and it's a general media thing.
yeah.
So it's anime and superheroes and
Hmm.
science fiction and everything. And this is the first year that Roddenberry has really dipped its toes into that. So
Hmm.
it's a small presence that we've got. Two
Yeah.
panels, uh, Saturday afternoon doing Mission Log live,
Hmm.
and that'll be me, Holly, and Shar. And it's really just kind of quick takes between
Hmm.
us and the audience. Hey,
Gotcha.
what do we like that we've watched right now?
Okay.
What are we looking forward to? And just having a dialogue,
Okay. So it's kind of like
and then
what
a
we
bar
did.
meetup afterward.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's kind of what Larry did at SoonerCon. He did his Trek Night Tuesday live, and I
Yeah,
was in the audience for that one because I was
right.
up there. Um,
Excellent. And then
and
Sunday doing the thing with Larry that's kind of
yeah,
a survey of fan mail and fan reactions over the
oh
last
yeah,
59 years.
oh my god, that's gonna be fun. I
Oh
hope
yeah.
I could watch that one. Um,
Yeah.
and I've never and I've always been meaning to ask y'all this on is it Monday nights? Is that the lives Mission on Lives on Monday?
Yes.
Okay. Can anybody just like join that Zoom?
Absolutely.
Because like I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie, a couple times I'm like I've thought about joining it, and I just haven't because I wasn't
You
sure.
absolutely should.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
New callers are always welcome. There are a lot of the regulars
oh
who,
yeah.
they love to call in every Monday, and that's great. The more callers, the better, so we
Hmm.
can kind of zip through and get people's takes. Now, the trick with Mission Log Live is that it is concurrent with whatever new Trek
Yeah.
there is. So we just wrapped season 3 of Strange New
Hmm.
Worlds. We're gonna do one more wrap up show,
Hmm.
and then we're going to do a show that'll be a little bit of a catch-all just to acknowledge Star Trek Con
Hmm.
audio
Oh, which has
cast.
been good.
Yeah, yeah. And then maybe we'll have a Star Trek Scouts guest, waiting to see what'll
Hmm.
happen. But then the show will go on a hiatus
Okay.
and it'll come back when Starfleet Academy
Okay.
starts. But the whole idea behind Mission Log Live is just to get that immediate audience
Gotcha.
reaction. Mhm.
Oh, I may have to join the next recap one to give my opinion
Yeah,
on
you should.
Strange New Worlds season 3.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I did not like it. It just I don't know.
It's a little weird.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll tell you this. I mean, I've already said something. For me, and I could say skin on the live if I joined, it felt like if we'd had if we'd had a standard 26 season episode, or I'm sorry, 26 episode season,
Yep.
these would have been those one-offs.
Right.
Instead, we
Yeah.
got 10 standoff, one-off episodes. Like, and I
Yeah.
always put it back to like the one that because I just saw it was, our man Bashir. I'm like,
Mhm.
again, those just those singularities of episode.
Yeah.
Every one of these was almost like that,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
That's the problem. When you look at TOS and you go like, sure, they can do Gangster Planet
Yeah.
episode because the next week they're going to do something a little more high-minded.
Hmm.
You know, but when you've only got 10 episodes and you
Yeah.
wait 2 years between those 10 episodes,
Yeah.
uh then when there's the whiplash
Yeah.
going back and forth between heavy dark character drama
Hmm.
and
Whimsical.
light romantic
Yeah.
comedy. It's
Yeah.
disorienting.
It was. And I mean,
Mm.
again, they were good episodes. It's just they
Mhm.
were very just at times. And then, I mean, the last one was like magic and not sci fi.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
well, I've got
yeah.
my last question for you, John. It's the same one I
Sure.
ask everybody. Um, what piece of Star Trek technology do you wish existed today?
Ooh.
Hmm.
Okay, so the selfish part of me says the transporter because I
Mm-hmm.
love to travel, and the idea of just being able to beam into any place that you want, brilliant,
Mm-hmm.
incredible. But I'm actually going to say the replicator
Mm-hmm.
because I think so many of the problems that we face societally are based on our lack of resource.
Yep.
And having something that could resolve that on some kind of fundamental level is what we need.
Yeah.
Now, wouldn't turn down a lot of other Trek tech.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the medical tech that
100%.
absolutely we could use
Uh-huh.
sooner rather than later.
Yes. Totally
But
agree.
yeah, but I think the replicator would go a long way. Also, whatever kind of anti-grav system they've got for like, a shuttle or something to just
Yeah.
easily glide off the planet,
Hmm.
that'd be helpful too.
That'd
But
be very helpful. But yeah,
yeah.
I'm not a lot of my guests say the replicator for these exact same reasons because you could just give someone food or water,
Yes.
whatever they need,
Yeah.
right there. So
Yeah. You could have a replicator that replicates replicators.
yes, you could. You really could. Well, I thank you for your time today. This has been
Thank
a
you.
really great discussion. I always love to just I can nerd out with Trekkies all day long, and
Hey, yeah, we'll do it again. We'll do it in person.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, definitely
Love it.
next time I'm around. But all right, well, you have a
Excellent.
good afternoon, and I'll talk to you later, sir.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.
For as little as $5 per month, you can gain early access to the full ad-free versions of all interviews, plus additional exclusive content by joining Patreon.